All right, what is up, team? Welcome back to another episode of the True Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Conway, and today I am joined by a guest by the name of Chance Porter, and this is a special guest because he's one of our new one-to-one and program design and assistant on affiliate programming coaches with True Fitness. Chance, welcome, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. I wanted to give people an opportunity to put a face with a name or have an identification that our staff is growing and that I do have someone out there. It's not just an illusion or that I throw out that we are actually growing, and we have room for clients that are looking to be a part of what True Fitness is, because I'm only one man and I can only help a certain number of clients, and we're getting to the point where I can't do that anymore. So this is where your origin story comes from with at least True Fitness, but our origin story goes way back, man. Chans, I want to just start by asking you some basic questions so people can get to know you a little bit. Where do you live? Where are you from?
Live in Morgan, Utah, and from Morgan, so never really left. Kind of went to college and then came back and started it.
Small town boy. That's how you do it, man.
Right, pretty much.
That's how you avoid the drama, and you stay pretty happy that way, right?
It's pretty nice here, yeah. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I think so. I think you and I both agree. We don't live far from one another, but I think that we would both agree that, like, if the population didn't grow much ever, I'd be cool with that. I'd be cool with just like keeping things how they are around here.
Yeah, Morgan's almost too big as it is. It seems there's so many people that keep moving in here.
I can imagine. You guys don't have a ton of space up there.
No. So many townhouses are getting built, and it's just like I'd rather be less people for sure.
I get that, man. You're a husband and a father. Tell us a little bit about your family.
So I have 4 kids, 6, 5, 3, and then she's like barely over one in a couple months. Let's see, I've been married since this will be just got year number 11. So, or actually, yeah, year 11. So just surviving basically.
Yeah, man. You're living the dream, bro. You're in the thick of it. But you're living the dream.
Yeah.
You're living the dream.
Yeah.
All things considered, you are certainly living the dream, and it's been really cool to know you through the years and watch how you navigate things from a coaching perspective, from gym ownership, and all the things that we'll discuss in this podcast. But with you being in the thick of it, I mean, your life hasn't always been this way. Talk to me a little bit about when you got started with CrossFit and what made you even discover it in the first place.
Yeah. So I played a little bit of college ball, got done playing that, and honestly, it was like in the summer sometime, I turned on the TV and on ESPN2 or whatever was CrossFit Games. And I still remember it was the dog sled workout where they did like the handstand push-ups, double unders, push the sled. And I remember watching Froning and Bridges go at it. And I remember just being like, dude, these dudes are freaking jacked and I want to be jacked. Like that was what I want. And I kind of looked into it a little bit, but I didn't really understand much of the stuff. So I kind of just like played with some stuff, but was still doing kind of my own thing, And then in the winter, I started looking at it again and .com and all these videos. So I decided before I even went to an affiliate or anything like that in the winter, like I think it was, I want to say December, like 27th or something like that. I did my first workout. So I had like a tree in the backyard. I filled a basketball full of sand. I found a pull-up bar at like my farm that I hooked up into my parents' garage. And then I found like a dresser that was exactly 24 inches. And that was like my box. Like I had nothing. And I remember my first workout was like a wall ball and pull-up workout. And I did that. And I did a couple workouts with whatever I had in my parents' garage. And then I decided to go to affiliate. And I went to the affiliate at the first of the year in January. So that would have been 2012. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
And then I got my level 1 like in 3 months because I was just obsessed with it. And then by that November, I opened up a gym, and that was pretty much, I was like, drank the Kool-Aid,
Drank it.
Got into it, loved it, obsessed with it. And yeah.
Yeah, man, you drank it hard and been drinking it ever since, and I love it. How old were you at that time in 2012?
I opened up my affiliate when I was 21. So I was just dumb enough to think like, yeah, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's kind of,
why not? Why not open a gym, work out all day with your friends, right? Like that's what everybody thought owning a gym, and specifically owning a CrossFit gym, was going to be like.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I thought I want to work out all the time, and I want to buy a bunch of equipment. So why don't I just open up a gym? And I remember people being like, well, what's your business plan? And I was like, I'm going to open it up, and people are hopefully going to show up and that's what it'll be. I hope, you know?
Yeah, I love it, man. And so basically, you fell in love with CrossFit. You had an athletic background. Were you the type of guy, Chans, that were you always like a weight room guy? Like, did you love the training aspect of sport, or were you more like wanted to play the sport? Were people having to chase you down for the weight room and all the hard stuff, or were you naturally drawn to that stuff?
I would say a little bit of both. I mean,
Okay.
I'm trying to think, like, I wasn't like super into working out all the time, but I was probably always playing like two sports, you know, it would always be from one sport to the other sport. So I was always doing the sport I loved. Like that was how I was, like, came to football or baseball or whatever. Like I didn't mind practicing, and like I would do stuff on my own, but I just wanted to play the game 24/7, you know? And then it was kind of like what everyone says, right? I played sports all through high school, a little bit in college, and then you get done and you're kind of just like, what am I going to do with my life? I want to keep competing. I want to keep pushing myself, but I need to find something to do it, you know? And then I found CrossFit and I was like, dude, this is exactly what I needed. It's something new that I can now obsess over instead of all these sports. And that was kind of like what drove me.
Yeah, I love that, and I think it's good, man. You know me, I've always been the poster boy of hard work. So I was the one that was chasing down the guys to go to the weight room. I was like, yo, you better get your butt in the weight room. Like, we got to go do this. We're about to go do this workout. We're about to go get some extra reps. Like, I was just always obsessed with those things. But I really always loved the people who still lived and died by competition, even if they weren't drawn to the gym all the time. Right. Because I still always knew that I had this part of my team or a pack of friends that I was still really tightly associated with that like loved to step up when the pressure was really high. And sometimes the guys in the weight room aren't always like that. Sometimes they train better than they perform. And that I always really struggled with that with people. And that's a different topic for a different podcast, because we'll get into a lot of that stuff as coaches, of course, in this sport, because unfortunately, I think we see it a lot in CrossFit, especially at a high level, where athletes are so obsessed with training that they want to win training every day. And then they show up to competition and they're like a little animal in their shell that's gun shy and can't PR their lift when the lights are bright and when the judge is there and when the timer's counting down. And that's when we need it, right? That's the whole reason that we train them in the first place. So I love that that's like your side from a mindset perspective, because that'll help us. It'll be a good balance when we're in the thick of it with somebody, right? Like grinding through some of that stuff. But so the gym opens. It's called CrossFit Unknown for those that don't know. CrossFit Unknown.
Unknown.
It's been open. You just celebrated 12 years, you said, or 13? 13 years as an affiliate owner, brother. That is amazing, and congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And that's what you do. That's your job, right? Is you run your affiliate?
Yep, that's my job. It wasn't always that way, but yeah,
of course.
I think that's why a lot of people can't last. At least I think of all the gyms, you know, the first gym that I went to is closed down, and I think multiple ones are closed down. They kind of drop. And I think, you know, that when people ask me about a gym, at least back then, and I would say somewhat now, they're like, hey, would you recommend it? And I'm like, if you like working a lot and like not making a lot of money, then yeah, like you can work this many hours and find a much better paying job. But like, if you don't love it, you're not going to stick with it, you know?
Yep.
And I think that's like the hardest part is people look at it as an investment, in that like, oh, if I kind of put in a little bit of time, it'll reap rewards. And it's like, dude, if you don't put in time to this thing, it's not going to benefit, and you're going to feel like you just waste time.
For sure. Know? Absolutely. And I think it's very specifically true with owning an affiliate and running an affiliate. Like there's just so many tasks and responsibilities that if you're not business oriented, you're going to really suffer early and grind a lot. Eventually, if it lasts, you will learn. You'll learn some really hard lessons, but eventually you will catch up to speed. Now, if you get into it business savvy and understand business, you might have some early success, but you still have to be willing to grind in order to actually break through, because it's such a people business anyways, right? Like we're in the business of fitness as almost like this masking agent to me. Really, we're in a business of relationships. So we're in customer service, and we're trying to fulfill, you know, essentially these promises to people that they get in their mind of like, oh, I'm going to physically be this when I start CrossFit or whatever it turns out. But I think there's a lot of lessons there and a lot of things that we could dive in, especially in the future, to talk about affiliate ownership and how to help gyms thrive or gyms that are struggling and how to do all that stuff. Because of course we work with affiliates and we program for affiliates and we have many different types of relationships, from mentorship to affiliate programming. But from your perspective, man, what are some of the, and I didn't preface you with these questions, so, God bless you, man. What are some of the hardest lessons you've learned as an affiliate owner?
Ooh, I would say I feel like when you talk to people who just own a business, own an affiliate, right? They're centered around making money, which I get. And a lot of people kind of want to do like, well, hey, you can get pull-ups. Well, let's schedule a 30-minute consult and I'll charge you X amount and we'll do it. And I think one of the hardest lessons I learned is that I mean, I don't think that, at least from what I've experienced, is that doesn't help member retention or members at all. Like the biggest thing I think members, this is what I've told like coaches and people, is like, hey, if the members realize that you will do anything for them, hey, I got tennis elbow, I don't know what's going on. Hey, I'm gonna read some stuff up tonight and I'll give you some stuff tomorrow, and you do it and better, and they realize that you care, then they'll like walk through fire for you. But you have to show them that. And I think that's like one of the biggest lessons, is that you almost have to, like for example, hey, you coach all the classes and you got to get your workout in before another class shows up. So you have 30 minutes and you're trying to bust it. And someone comes in and asks you questions, that sucks. Your workout's done.
Yep.
You got to pick them over you, which is a pain to do. And you want to be selfish. You're like, dude, I just have this 30-minute hour window to do something. Just let me, you can see I'm doing the same workout that you're doing. You can see it. It's the same thing, but it's just like stuff like that. And that's kind of hard at first, because the reason, I mean, at least for me, like the reason I'm doing this is so I can freaking work out and get better and buy all these toys and do all these things and spend, 2 hours, 3 hours working out in the gym. And then these people are ruining it.
Yeah.
That's
how you feel.
And then
of course.
And then you got to change your mindset to be like, hey, if I can make these people happy, they're going to tell their friends, and their friends are going to come in, and then it's just going to be a snowball effect.
Absolutely, man. I think you're nailing it when because the lesson that you're alluding to here, to me, is that you have to over deliver. You have to over deliver. And that takes stamina, and that takes a stubbornness and a lot of grit, for sure. Because like you said, you typically start this business not necessarily all the way for selfish reasons, because you know that you're going to help people. But look, man, you want to make some money and do what you want and have some freedoms in life. Like, that's typically why we choose to be entrepreneurs versus going to get a job somewhere else. Right. With that being said, what you're saying is, I think, very hard for people to want to do, because they're like, okay, wait, how can I make this more optimized for my business? Because I want to always be making money with my time. Right. So it'll be $30 for 30 minutes. We're going to work. It's available to anybody, but they got to schedule with me, and we're going to work skills that they might not get to in the gym, or I might not get to in the class with them. But what you're saying is you got to sacrifice the time, because when you do that and the members see this and they feel this and they do get better, and it's not extra on top of that. CrossFit can be pretty expensive for a lot of people. Yep. Not for many, but a lot of people that do it, it's a stretch financially in their income, depending on what city you're in and what that all looks like, of course. But you got to be sensitive to that as the coach and the business owner. And I think you're doing that when you say this specifically, because now what you've got is you've got 13 years under your belt with a committed group of humans that will go to battle for you in the good and the bad times. Right. Because you've done that with them, and that's how you've been able to then transition to this being more of a full-time job for you and supporting a family and all the things. So I think that's really cool. And I think that hopefully people that listen to this or follow our journey as a team of coaches and what True Fitness stands for and what we do, I think hopefully that echoes with a lot of what we stand for in general, in regards to do the work now, sacrifice now, so that you can reap rewards later. Because obviously it's paying off for you now, man. And that's really cool. What's been some of the best parts of owning an affiliate, like from having your family there and all that kind of stuff, to whatever you see as the biggest perks?
I would say probably, I don't know, probably all of my friendships are from the gym. Right. I mean, I was just talking to someone the other day about, cause they were talking about their kid, how when they moved to Germany, one of my members, they moved to Germany, and their kid was like 17 years old and they were struggling with it. And I said, yeah, it's hard to tell them, that the friends that you have in high school, you're probably not going to see all the time. I'm like, the only friend I see from high school is the dude that comes to the gym. Other than that, I don't see any of them, So I think that one of the best things is that, you have this gym, and you all are like-minded individuals, right? You all go to the gym and you realize that, like, hey, I got to put forth effort to get a result that I want. And if I don't put forth the effort, I'm not going to get a result. So then it's very easy to get along with these people because you're like, hey, they know what they have to do and I know what I have to do. So then we're nobody's faking it, right? We all go through the effort. And then, you become friends with these people and you start to like the same things and enjoy it. And then, the fact that my wife does it, she's a coach. We met in CrossFit. All my kids come and my kids, and all they do is they just hang out there all day. And people are just like, how can these, this little kid climb a rope? And you're like, dude, they live here and they freaking love it,
Yeah, they
and
copy the adults. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and I look at it, like when I talk to people and they're like, oh, so this is all you do? Like, is it pretty hard? I'm like, dude, I'm freaking living the dream. This is awesome. I mean, I get to do what I want every single day. I get to coach people. I get to train. It's just like what I've always wanted to do. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love that too, man. And I think my kids are only 8 and 6, but that's like what I'm trying to teach them already is that working is always working and hard work is a part of life, but it gives you purpose. So that's good. I'm trying to teach them to not be afraid of working hard. It's actually what gives you zeal and like makes you want to rest, and what makes rest feel good, and like what makes TV time right now, of course, screen time. It's like we're bartering screen time. So it's like, well, what do you got to do to get some screen time? We'll go do this hard thing. And it's like, oh man, that's hard. And I'm like, exactly. Screen time is a reward. You will enjoy the screen time after you go read this thing or go do this task or whatever it is. So I love that though, because again, like this is almost this sense of what I've seen in you through the years, and we'll get to our origin story in just a minute, but it's like delayed gratification. Right? Delayed gratification is that you did grind. It was hard. You have a family, you're married, your time is not infinite. It's very finite, right? And how you can invest in your own family and make memories and do all the things that dads do. But you find yourself being busy with something that you love. So you love it. So it feels less like work, even though you're working really hard. So I think that's really cool, man. And I love that. I know I was talking to you, gosh, it was at the Summit Games. We were having a side conversation about some of this stuff, like where our relationship was going to go and pulling you into TTRU and all this stuff. And you were mentioning something that like really stood out to me. And I talked to other affiliate owners, even gym owners that I do mentorship for, about this event, how important events are for you, right? Or regular and consistent activities that pull the gym together outside of just the regular scope of class. Like mention that a little bit, and what made you like, that was almost like your immediate response to like why your gym's in the position it's in right now.
Yeah. So I would say probably every, 3-4 months we do some sort of an event. And it's kind of, it and honestly wasn't planned. It's just kind of like what happened. And then we just started doing it. So, I mean, obviously we do the open and we make it a big deal. We do Friday night lights, we do potluck food. And a lot of this, what I was talking to you about is like, hey, what I feel like made our gym close is, we do the open or we do this Halloween throwdown or whatever we do. And it like, I make zero money. Yep. I lose money because I buy food and I do this and I do that. But you get people coming in and they love it. And you get this cool atmosphere and you get these people who get together and love being around each other and love working hard. And it's just awesome. So we do the open, we make that a big deal. And then what we've done, we'll probably do it again this year. They took it away last year, but quarterfinals, we usually do like a break of some sort, but we just have, we always post like, hey, these are the times. We try to program it for the class so it's easy for people to do it if they have jobs. And then we'd be like, hey, we're going to throw down on this Friday night at whatever, 6:00. If everybody can show up, we're going to do heats, whatever. We'll do that for Saturday. In the summer, probably like, 5 or 6 years ago, my sister ran the fair here and they wanted to do a fundraiser or something. So we ended up doing a 24-hour hero workouts, a hero workout on the hour for 24 hours. And it was in teams of 3. So we had people sign up and they did it at the fair. We did that for a few years and then COVID hit. So then we switched it to just doing it at the gym. And then we made it a fundraiser for one of our athletes that's gone to the games multiple times. So then we started doing it for them and it was still teams of 3. So that's like something we do every year now. And then in the fall, we did like this Halloween throwdown where everyone would dress up and we do, it would be like 3 hours, teams of 3. You have an RX person, an intermediate, a beginner on every team. You have to stay in this. You coordinate your outfits and just throw down. And we do stuff like that. And then we'll do like, something for Christmas. We make some turkeys and do a bunch of stuff and have a little festivity. So we just try to do something just almost to reward the members because I just feel like, hey, all I'm doing is I'm just, telling you that your air squat needs this and this and this, and you need to do this, and I'm programming it, and I'm trying to make you fitter. But like, if you guys don't show up, then I'm out of a job. I got to find something else. So I just like to reward them for like, hey, you guys are awesome. You guys are a great community. You guys make the gym what it is. So, we reward you, and we do stuff like that to make it fun. And it's been, it's a lot of work. It's not fun in the sense of like, oh my gosh, I got to plan these throwdowns and I got to set this up and I got to do this, but it's awesome. It's fun.
Investments, man. Investments that give you the return, even if, and I think the key is too, for you, the success is that you're not out there asking for more money. You're asking for their commitment. You're asking for their time. They're already paying you a fee. You eat it a little bit in regards to the financial budget for the event. And again, the return is every month, lifetime members. And to these events, they're bringing visitors. And especially when it's charity driven, they're bringing visitors and they're supporting people in their community. And they're right. So I love it, man. And I think that's really cool. So you mentioned this a little bit, even in that response, but the competitive side of CrossFit, that's what got you into it, man. You wanted to be a competitor. We were talking before this and you were saying, like, I think we met in 2012 at the Southwest Regional in Colorado. At the time, I'd have been on HaxPack because I went individual in 2011. Colorado, just missed out on the games 2012. I was on HaxPack our first year, 2012. We were up in some junior high, right? At the Southwest Regional. Yeah, that was a legendary year though for regionals, man. Like if I could think back, like Chris Spieler, Zach Forrest, Matt Hathcock, like these dudes that like they were always like, it was like nothing was guaranteed in the Southwest. So it was always coming down to this final workout where you were just like watching, you were like, what's going to happen? Spieler's going to send it.
Dude, I remember it was that farmer carry workout and Hathcock blew up. Yeah.
Choked, right? Like, unfortunately for him, he choked.
Blown up, or everyone was blown away because Spieler could snatch on a 100-pound dumbbell.
Yes.
With that shuttle sprint workout.
Yep.
They had the hang power cleans at 225.
Oh, yeah, 225 with the pistols in the 2K row. Devastating workout. Devastating.
Dude. Yeah, that just brings back the glory days.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah.
And it was everyone was on top of you. There was no, I was just telling someone this the other day. I said, dude, I could have like walked right up to Spiller and be like, what's up, dude? How you doing? As he's warming up. There was nothing. It was crazy.
It was nothing. And people were literally doing that too, because it was like the fandom of CrossFit hadn't yet hit its precipice where there was a difference fully in the competitor and the everyday person. So it was like everybody was still accessible. The sport was rapidly growing, but there were thousands of people in this one room just like going nuts about these workouts. Yeah. And so it was that like low key and accessible, which is what made it beautiful at the time. We didn't realize it, but gosh, take us back. That'd be amazing. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded now too of that workout. We had a snatch ladder that year. Yep. It was the double unders. Like you opened every minute with like 30 dubs and then you hit a snatch. Yep. Next 30 dubs, next bar snatch. And it was a ladder, went up to like 275 or something like that. But there were guys that were snatching 255, 265, like some guys, Matt Chan was in our region. So like Spieler maybe hit like 200, 205.
I want to say he hit 215 and that was like a miracle.
I think it was.
And then I think the tiebreaker was if you could deadlift the next bar and max double unders would give you that tie break.
Yep.
Because I remember him doing that and they were like, everyone was blank. That was what he had to hit. And he hit it. And then that set him up pretty for that final event.
Yep. That final event, man.
It was just like a chunk of
everything. It was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. If you guys are watching this or listening to it, go back and browse the archives for the 2012 individual regional workouts and just understand, folks, that I would love to see Dave pull some of the, like, make them quarterfinal, put them in the quarterfinals. Go revisit. Let's go it's year 20. Let's go back and take chunks of some of these regionals and piece it together so it's a broad test. Let's let us revisit.
225 for 30 hang power cleans. That was heavy.
It was crazy.
Heavy.
It was crazy heavy. I remember. So we did a team version of a 1K row, 30 pistols, and we did 15 of those. And I remember Tommy Hackenbrook. He always did this. He was like just in my head about like, hey man, like you're gonna do this last, and you have to go unbroken on these hang cleans. You have to. And for no reason, he would tell me stuff like that, just to like see what I could do. So I'm out there just like 13, I'm getting lower. My legs are getting pushed out. 14, I'm losing my grip. So I keep it in my hands just because he said unbroken. I know this slowed me down, but I like put it on my lap. I like get my hook grip back on it. And then I think I hit it totally fine. And so, I finished and he was like, oh man, I didn't think you could do that. That was really cool. Like it was, and we beat everybody by like a couple minutes. Like
Right.
our team was so good that it was completely unnecessary, but it was just like, that's how our team did become great, is because we would do that kind of stupid stuff and challenge each other in that way. But back to Untasked, man, we're talking about your competitive background. We actually started working together in about 2013, I believe, me programming for you as an individual athlete. Talk to me about what that experience was like, man, because it's been so long. It's like hard for me to even remember. And it's like, that was literally at the beginning of my ability to program and help other people that wanted to do what I was doing already.
Yeah. I think I came to you because I just like hurt my back pretty bad. So I remember when I came to you, it was like I probably hadn't, I don't know, touched a weight in 3 or 4 months. Right. I was trying to just, I didn't really know what I was doing. Rehabbing wise.
Yeah, you were doing workouts really hard every day.
Yeah.
Probably doing a second when you could, like slide it. You were doing what we all doing to a degree.
Yeah. So I came to you. So I remember we just started it and we started slow. It was almost like from the ground up, you know. Hey, I couldn't really lift much. So I remember a lot of, it was a lot of tempo and super small progressions. And then I maybe just slowly, that was where I got introduced to IWTs, which became probably I honestly think to this day, the IWT probably helped me know myself as an athlete so much that, like, for example, the open workout that came out, I don't know, 1 or 2 years ago, that was the 300-meter row, deadlift and double under one for 20 minutes. Like, because of the IWT years ago, I was like, oh, I know exactly what pace I'm going to hit. And I know I'm not going to blow up until like minute 14 or 15. And then I'm just going to have to grind, but like that, it helped me know myself so well to where it's like, hey, I don't even need to really practice these workouts too much. I kind of know what pace I can hold and what I can do. And it kind of, I would say that almost like kind of changed how I approach workouts and how you pay attention to things like that.
Yeah, I love that, man. I think that's fair. And I'll just mention this real quick. What Chans is talking about is IWT stands for interval weight training. And it's a method that I've used in program design since 2012. And I was first exposed to it through Rob McDonald, a coach through Jim Jones, and Bobby Maximus and Mark Twight, who founded Jim Jones. And they did this a lot with like fighters. They did it with like high level athletes, because what you can do with interval weight training, and we do this on a regular with True Fitness and our competitor programming. We'll talk about that in our next episode a little bit more, Chans, and like the way we use it for competitors and the variety of things that we do. But these guys would use it at Jim Jones for really high level, like very specific sport athletes. So you could pair like a power movement. It could be as simple as like a loaded vertical jump with dumbbells and a row or a bike or a run, or it could be something as nuanced for CrossFitters, like a power clean, power jerk, and a 2-minute row or a specified task distance row. But the idea is to pace a specific way. There'll be times where we pace and our goal is to negative split the rounds, which means that you have to get faster or cover a greater distance every time you go. Or there's even different approaches where you could almost go full send and you're literally testing your capacity and seeing how well you can recover in a specific window. And there's even a term called a reverse IWT, which I love a lot, especially in prep directly for a competition, where you may reverse the order where you might have to row 500 meters in a specific pace. And then you've got to get off and hit like 5 squat snatches at 80% as fast as possible. Then you get 2 minutes rest and you got to do it again. So there's a lot of different things, but the term IWT stands for interval weight training. You can adjust it based on a specific athlete's needs or their sport or whatever it is. So that's what Chand is alluding to. And it is very effective. And it's honestly, again, still one of my most favorite ways to train, even as a lifestyle athlete, when I'm not training to be competitive at anything.
Yep. I remember we always did it on Wednesdays, and it was like Wednesday was the best day. It was like the most fun.
I'm going to tell you right now, some of the first IWTs I'd get exposed to, not even the first, they were just IWTs. I would lose sleep on Tuesday night because of them. I would lose sleep because it's like when we're training on a team, or if the coach was going to be there to watch me, like I remember just like people standing over my shoulder during a 2-minute row interval and like me being so focused on like, okay, I got to get 609, 609, because I got 608. And if I don't get 609, the rule says it got to get better every time. And I'm just like dying. I just did like 10 front squats at 225. I'm completely dead, blown up, and just like slobber, just right, like fighting, only to know that I only got 2 minutes rest. And then I had to do this front squats again and row 610 now on the next one, like, or whatever it was. Right. But I remember like after I experienced it a few times, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't really, I feel like my stomach might hurt. I might not be able to go tomorrow. Like, you know, it's just funny. Like that's how training was and can be for competitors. But we started working together, man. And it was a good experience. You learned some new things. How did that influence the way that you coached or programmed into your future?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like we do kind of program the same way in a sense. Like we're super like I feel like I'm always obsessed with like classic CrossFit, MWG, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the things that you wrote and kind of the things that you did kind of like was kind of like, yeah, I could. That's exactly kind of how I do. And I agree, like, oh yeah, you put it here. That makes a lot of sense to me, you know? And I think it definitely too, because it kind of like opened my eyes. Not only that, but the injury itself kind of opened my eyes to like, okay, just because someone has this injury doesn't mean they can't, you know,
for sure.
pass or I can't do anything for them. Like, dude, there's multiple things to do. And that was like a perfect example. Like, hey, I didn't touch a weight for, you know, who knows how long, 6 months or whatever. And then we got back into it. And then I'm able to, you know, PR my snatch or clean and jerk PR, front squat, all this stuff where, you know, mentally 6 months ago, you were like, dude, I'm never going to be able to touch a barbell again.
Yeah.
My life's ruined, you know? And then you jump forward and you're like, oh, everything's all right. I just got to be smart about it and progressions. And I think that kind of changed how I approached, you know, programming for other people, you know, the gym, people with injuries, all that stuff.
Yep. And I think that's really important. Like basically the continued development of knowledge, right? Like back then when I was programming for you, there were very few coaches. Of course, I came into the space with a degree in human performance. I was already nerding out on things and using progressions to help improve people's performance, mine specifically, to help improve people's performance in CrossFit. But I wasn't just burning it down at both ends. And that was really, 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 really rare in 2013 because everybody else was just doing .com, excuse me, or doing .com and all these other workouts really hard in a day and then getting just wrecked, of course, long-term and not seeing improvements or burning out or injuring themselves. And so it was very different. So I always appreciate a lot of the athletes that I started working with, even before we started Brute Strength in 2014, that I got to train because I felt like they were almost willing to experiment with something very different than what was going on in the community at that time. So I always think that's really cool. You are a level 3 coach. Yep. So you've continued your education. What else have you done dabbling wise to like expand how you work with people or what you learn? Anything else specifically like certificates? I mean, I know you got a long list of weekend seminars and stuff that you've sat in.
Yeah. I probably have. I mean, I don't know. They don't do the ones anymore but back in the day, CrossFit had a bunch and I did about every one you could back then. So like the, you know, CrossFit football and mobility and all those ones. But a lot of it honestly is just, researching. I mean, I'll just buy, you know, any book that I see, that I think, you know, whether people recommend it or if you listen to, I mean, I listen to people in the space, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, certain coaches, whether it's Proven or Training Think Tank or whoever it is, I just listen to these people and they talk about this stuff. And then you're like, maybe I should research some of that and learn, you know? And that's kind of like the way I approach everything is like, hey, I mean, if there's seminars available, I'll for sure take them, you know?
Sure.
But the other thing is like, man, if I can buy these books and read these books and then apply them, because that's the biggest thing. I can be a test dummy and I can apply this stuff and see if it works. And if it works, cool. And if it doesn't, cool. Then I kind of know what I can take and what I can't. And then I just kind of like add that to the mix.
Yep. Yeah, exactly, man. And I think that's, again, one of the biggest aspects of coaching is that, and I thought about this long before I approached you with who I was looking for to work with directly in this situation where I knew I would need a savant of a coach where like your specialty was not specializing just like CrossFit should be, right? Like I didn't really want to get with someone that was like, I only specialize with affiliates or I only do individual competitors because that's all I know. It's like I wanted someone who had their ear to the community, like their ear to the ground, for lack of a better descriptor, but like you're sensitive enough to know like what's going on. Hey, what competition's going on? What are coaches doing? Who's in what camp? Like all of these things. There are some people who are literally so like stubborn in their own ways that they're like, I don't pay attention to that stuff. I don't know. And I'm like, man, I think you're missing out on a ton of knowledge and understanding, learning from other people's mistakes and learning what works really well and what's developing people at a high level if you don't pay attention to that stuff. So I think that's really good. I think getting coaches listening to this, it's really foolish if you're not spending. Well, you got to love it. First off, like I feel like the huge advantage to us is that we're both pretty obsessed with the space. And so, and I mean that in a healthy way where it's like, man, I just love to learn and follow up and pay attention and be able to follow through then and apply some of this stuff to the people that we're working with or the programs that we're designing. So it comes a little bit natural, but if it doesn't come natural to you, you're probably in the wrong business, right? Like that's just the truth of it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember back in the day when I first started, I could not wait to go home and be on the journal for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was like very obsessive. Looking at it now, I'm like, boy, I was very, very obsessed.
Hey, man.
And that's the one thing I miss the most, man. If they could just bring that journal back, I mean, you could spend forever on there, and the things that you would learn, I mean, some people may think, hey, CrossFit, what do they know? They don't know that much. They don't ever expound their boundaries and learn anything new. They're very close-minded. Part of it may be true. Who knows? I don't know. But I think like, dude, if you're in the CrossFit space, why wouldn't you read everything that HQ's throwing out there?
Everything.
Why wouldn't you? I don't know. It's just weird to me. Like whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, it's nice to just know.
Oh yeah.
And then if you agree with it or don't.
Totally.
And
well, bro, yeah. we'll get into more of this stuff in other podcasts. I'm gonna tell you right now, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves with people is that they say, well, CrossFit believes in this and CrossFit does that. And they haven't like done enough research to understand how their perspective of CrossFit is actually like this. And CrossFit is actually like way bigger than my arms can outstretch and show, as an example, because they have such a lack of their ignorance to CrossFit is what the level 1 kernel is. Right. 2 days, a snapshot of what CrossFit is, and very much the introduction and basic level. Very much. It's tremendously valuable and gets you on the right path. But if this is all you know, if that's what you're judging CrossFit on, you are so ignorant, you have no idea. Because you got to go all the way back to 2001 and the principles that Greg Glassman read about, what people wrote about in the journal, the way we would explore, the way we do strongman, the way we do powerlifting, the way we do speed and agility development. And like, I mean, Greg worked with like these coaches. He worked with Mark Twight at Jim Jones for a time. They started to bump heads, but like they made a split. But it was just like he leaned heavily on these specialists in order to create this methodology. So for us to like exclude everything, you're like, you don't know yet. That's why you think it's very limited, because it's not. We just don't apply it thoroughly enough and with enough minds. But hopefully we'll be good examples of that. I want to get back on track real quick. We were talking about the competitive nature of it. You've had an opportunity to work with athletes at the CrossFit Games, specifically in the Masters category. What's that journey been like for you as a coach?
Oh, I mean, stressful a little bit. I don't know. It was kind of like my wife. I remember the first time, her name's David Jensen. The first time she made it to the games, my wife was like, your dream has come true. That's what you wanted. If you couldn't go to the games, you wanted to have someone that you knew go to the games that you could coach.
Yep.
And I was kind of like, yeah, that's true. But it's, that's now I want to do good, so then it's just like more stress. And I think a lot of it was very, I don't know, eye-opening to know, sometimes I think, especially with her, where she was a little bit older in the Masters, you look at these elite athletes and you think, okay, well, if I'm just judging from an outlook, it's just like more volume is better. But with these Masters, you can't do that. So then it's just like you're trying to find, okay, what's too much volume, what's not enough? How do I get her ready so she doesn't, get injured 2 weeks before? That's the last thing I want, but I got to get her better. I also got to figure out, I mean, I got notes on, what do they do for Masters from the first games all the way to here? What have they programmed?
Yep.
So I kind of know. So then you're just like throwing everything you can at them,
of course,
trying to get as ready as possible, trying to get him outside, trying to do all this stuff. So great learning experience to know, like, okay, this is kind of what it takes to get them ready, get them prepped, all that kind of stuff. And then when you get there, you just want her to be like, hey, you're here. Might as well. I mean, why wouldn't you take a chance? You may never come back here again.
That's right.
And that was like the hardest thing is, I think, coaching her, she had so much stress of like, hey, I don't want to let anybody from the gym down. I'm like, dude, nobody at the gym even knew this was possible for you to go to the game. So who
Yep.
freaking get, like, you're not gonna let anyone down.
Yep.
Everyone's supporting you. They just want to see you have fun and do good. So like, stop stressing.
Right.
Don't overthink these workouts. It's, if I programmed this workout at the gym, you know, and you were 2 months ago, you wouldn't even think twice about it. So don't worry about it. You know?
Yep.
I think that was like a lot of it was just their mindset during it, trying to keep them like, hey, all you need to do is recover. If you don't like that last workout and you didn't do good, who freaking cares? It's over. You got to move on. You know,
Yeah, you gotta go.
You got to come to this one and you got to get squared away with it. And you got to be willing to like make your move here. If you think you can hammer this out and do really well, then you got to push the pace and see what happens. Like, you don't want to have any regrets, what ifs, you know? But yeah, I mean, it was awesome. It was fun.
We'll talk a lot about mindset for sure as well in podcasts to come, because this year we're kind of back to this old school approach, at least in my opinion, from what we know about what the 2026 season will look like. There's going to be a lot of people that get to compete, man. There's going to be a lot of people that get nervous because they've never gotten a chance to do quarterfinals. There's going to be a lot of people that get real nervous because, dude, we're going to have people doing qualifier workouts to try to go to a semifinal in January. Because NorCal just announced, I believe, that their qualifiers in January for their semifinal, right? Then of course we got Mayhem, that their in-person semifinal is going to be, it's like before the Open, I think. So there's a lot. Maybe it's just right after the Open. I think it's the first semifinal. I got a big old calendar right here behind my screen. I got to like go now. I have to start. I got to erase this year and now get ready for next year because like all my serious stuff is done. What do you think is one of the biggest differences in coaching someone that's an individual athlete pursuing quarters and semis, maybe even the CrossFit Games right now, and then coaching an age group athlete, like a master's athlete specifically?
Honestly, don't think it's too much difference. The only thing I would say for masters, probably the two biggest things I would say is kind of like, you could call it volume tolerance or recovery. And the other one is just movement. Move well. That's like the biggest thing for at least, you know, I think of the masters at our gym that are pretty, that make semifinals for sure. And, you know, I've been close to the games, and, you know, the ones who struggle are those ones that are stiff. They're stiff. They struggle to do, you know, the overhead squat or squat snatch or something like that, or the, you know, handstand push-up or handstand walking because they're so stiff. And I think the ones that can move well, and if they don't move well, then they need to work on movement quality, because that is going to pay dividends, especially when you get older, man, because you're not going to be able to handle as much volume, at least in my opinion. And part of it could be because you're not moving as well. It could just be because, you know, how the body is. But if you can get yourself to move well, and then, you know, maybe tack on a little bit more volume, but you stay healthy through it, that's like what a lot of people are missing, you know?
Yep. I agree.
In that age group.
Yep. Sure. Yeah, I agree, man. Even some of the young whippersnappers that come to me, man, it's just like movement quality. Unfortunately, when someone gets the tag of like being good, people stop coaching their movement quality in most affiliates, right? Like I see it all the time. I see dudes that can snatch 300 pounds, no joke. And then I'm like, hey, man, we got some work to do with your deadlift. Hey, man, we got some real work to do with your air squat. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, man. Yeah. And I'm like, no, man, I'm serious. Like, that's not like, for you to be as fit as you are and to move like this, oh, we're about to take you to a different level if we can refine some of this stuff. And that's all we got to refine. So it's super interesting, but I appreciate that you bring that up, because I think that's really important. Any age group athletes, it doesn't matter, even if you're just on the cusp of that 30, some about 30, especially if you're pretty new to CrossFit. If you move poorly, you are punished exponentially on your tendons and connective tissue and even joints at large when you move poorly, because you could have the biggest engine and you could have the strongest muscles with the most stamina. Don't matter, because if you move poorly, you're costing yourself every rep. And if you love CrossFit especially, and you train like a psycho like we are, like normal people who are addicted to CrossFit, then you're just beating yourself up and there's no coming back from some of that wear and tear. So
that's what I tell people is, like, if you look at any games athlete, generally they move so well that like 90% of their 1 rep max, they move as if it's 50% of their 1 rep max, because they move so well. And that's why they're so good, you know? So like, if you want to get better, you got to move as it gets heavier. You got to continue to move well if you want to progress, because that's what they're doing. And they're the best in the world at it. So you got to learn from them, you know?
Exactly. I love it, man. So to wrap up this episode here, I just wanted to get to know you a little bit. I wanted you to share your voice a little bit with the people. I wanted me to be able to share how our staff is growing and who I'm growing with, and then some of the roles that you fulfill. What would you say people need to know about you as a coach? Is there any characteristic about you as a coach that you would want people to know? Because as we start onboarding and people are starting to look for 2026, a team that can take care of them, what could they expect from Coach Chance?
That's a good question. I don't really know. I would probably say, you know, anything they need help with, I'm willing to dive in and to learn more about it. And all I really care about is just effort more than anything else. I don't care. Hey, you can't, your PR is super low, you feel, or you're not good with the heavy weights, or you're not good here. Cool. As long as you're putting forth effort, that's kind of all I really care about. I don't really want excuses. I get that everyone has bad days, but that I think sometimes different than other people. Like, hey, if you're struggling, if you can't do a muscle up, but you practice once every 2 months, that tells me you don't really want to do a muscle up.
That's right.
So if you want to do a muscle up, then cool, we'll work towards a muscle up, but you just got to show me the effort that you want to work towards it. And then, whatever goals you want, let's crush them.
I love it. Yeah, man, I think that's a great snippet to wrap it up on. I think that does fit everything that I know about you. No nonsense, straightforward. And it's great because we have a t-shirt that we made like 2 years ago. I got to see if I got any. I'll get you a couple, but it just says effort is greater than, like it's the symbol greater than, and it's just effort. It's basically like effort over everything. Your effort is greater than even the outcome. Your effort is greater because that's what leads to the best outcomes. Right. So I think you polished that out really nicely there and explained it perfectly. Cool. Well, folks, here's the deal. This is the end of an episode. We are going to catch up a little bit and talk about our next cycle, which is called the Grit Cycle, leading into our preseason buildup. So for the next 8 weeks, we will have a buildup for everybody that's on True Competitor and also True Competitor Pro. And we're going to dive into the details of that on the next episode. So there'll be a lot more to come. Make sure you stay tuned. And you know how I finish these out. Keep rising while you're at it. So we'll see you next time.